that process is still the same. So what's different is we would have to find a common denominator. Okay, here we have a negative 5 over 16 plus 3, let me move this over, give myself some room, 3 over 4 minus 7 over 8. Now, can we multiply something times 4 to give us 16? Yeah. Can we multiply something times 8 to give us 16? Yeah. So we can multiply, so our common denominator is going to be 16, right? So we can multiply what times 3/4? 4 over 4, right. And 7/8? 2 over 2, good. Okay, so this will be, again, you're saying this mentally in your head, negative 5 over 16 plus 3 times 4 is 12 over 4 times 4 is 16 minus 2 times 7 times 2 is 14 over 2 times 8 is 16. Okay, so now any questions up to that point? Alright, so now we're going to start going from left to right. Look at that. Negative 5 and positive 12, and that's going to give us a what? A positive 7 over 16 minus 14 over 16. Now, do you see why I have you do 2 at a time? Because you're being consistent. Before, when we just had integers and no denominator, it was a little easier. But now that we have fractions, you're still doing it the same way, and you're being consistent. And when you do that, you're more likely to work through the problem correctly and not make a mental error. Okay, so now we have 7 minus 14, and if you want to change that minus sign to a plus, change the sign to the next number, we can do that. So now we got a positive 7 and negative 14, and that gives us a what? Negative 7 over 16. Check to see if we can simplify, which cannot, and that's our answer.
That's not all the plus sign.
What?
The plus sign thing, change it.
If you can do it like this without changing it, that's fine. You can. This is just a help, an aid for you to work through it. Like if you can do it just as, if you can do this just as a minus, let me fix that, a minus 14. Like if you can do it just like that without changing the signs, that's fine. You can do it.
I'm still having a problem telling the difference, like coming out positive and negative answers.
Okay. Well,
Even on
you're looking at with their opposite, right? Yeah. With their opposite signs, you adding or subtracting.
The opposite sign.
Opposite signs, you're going to add or subtract. Well, you've got 14 negatives and 7 positives. So that means you're going to have 21 negatives or positives? Or is it going to be subtracting?
I mean, you always take the positive, right? I mean, if it's more negative than it is positive, you take the negative, right? That's
right. So which one do we, that's right, if it's more negative than there is positive, you take the sign of whatever there's more of. So there's more negative here, right? There's 14 negatives and 7 positives. If you were to write this down, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 negatives, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 positives, right? So the negatives and the positives, when they're together, they cancel out. These two go together, they cancel. These two cancel, 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 cancel. And you just keep right on going all the way down. And what you're going to have left is you're going to have 7 negatives left. Okay? And so, you've got more negatives, right, than you have positives, so that's why you're going to end up with a negative. Alright? Any other questions there? Okay, it's good to clear this up, because the negatives, that's where people tend to get hung up on these integers. And you got to get those issues cleared up now. Okay? Better to do it now. Alright, now let's look at some decimals. Let's say that we have a negative 4.9 plus 3.27. So are we going to end up with a positive or a negative? Do we have more negative or more positive? We have more negative, right? Now you can go ahead and off to the side. You got negative 4.9 and a positive 3.27. We know we're going to subtract, right? Now normally you're used to seeing the minus sign down here. But we know we're going to subtract, so let's go ahead and put our minus sign in our difference. Okay, so we've got to borrow, right? Borrow from 1 from the 9, now we have 8. 10 minus 7 is 3. 8 minus 2, what do we get? 6 point, and then 4 minus 3 is 1. Okay, so our answer is a negative 1.63. So if you have to, off to the side, work the problem and then come back, because right here this is only one step, but if you have several steps, you're going to want to work these off to the side and then go back down through your process of steps as you're going through the problem. Okay? And you can do that, that's fine. You still have to do what with the decimal points? Line them up, right, when you're adding or subtracting. Now, well, alright, never mind, we'll get to that. Any other questions with that? Okay, so that's your answer. Alright, here we have 6.7 plus 3.2 plus a negative 10.5. Okay, so we're going to start with the first two. So off to the side, we're going to write 6.7 and 3.2, and what are we doing here? What operation? Adding, right. So we're going to add. 7 plus 2, that's 8. Decimal point. 6 plus 3, that's 9. So we're going to write 9 plus 8, or 9.8 rather, plus,
That's 9.
or wait a minute, yeah, 9, 7, oh that's 9.9, excuse me, let me redo that. 7 plus 2 is 9. See, now I'm trying to put too fast here too. 6 plus 3 is also 9. So that's 9.9 plus a negative 10.5. So now what are we doing? Adding or subtracting? Subtracting. So you want to ask yourself that question, because now we want to subtract. We got negative 10.5 and a positive 9.9. So our answer is going to be positive or negative? It's going to be negative, right? So we need to borrow, right? So that'll be 9, 10. So that's 15 minus 9, 6, right? And then 9 minus 9, so that'll be 0. So our answer is going to be a negative 0.6. So the thing that you have to watch out for is, the main thing you have to watch out for is the first step you added, the second step you subtracted, and you got to remember to bring that negative down, because that's something you're not used to doing, and it's an easy thing to forget. Okay?